Okay, so greetings, family, greetings. Kwanzaa yenu iri aheri. So apologies for that technical difficulties that we had there. So thank you for your patience. But we are very grateful to have Her Royal Highness Queen Diambi here with us, who has kindly agreed to give a Harambe message to us. So Shukamo, Your Royal Highness, thank you for being here with us.
Greetings to everyone. It's really a pleasure and an honor for me to be with you celebrating Kwanzaa with all of you. So the protocol requires that I introduce myself correctly with my title and qualities. So I am Majesty Queen Diambi Kabatu Swila Chiemwata Mukalenga Mukajiwa Nkashama Wabakwa Luntu Wabaluba Wakasai wa Congo, which means basically that I am Queen Diambi Kabatuswila Chiumata. I am Queen of the Order of the Leopard of the Luntu people, the Bakwa Luntu people, who belong to the Luba ethnic group of Congo in Kasai, in the Democratic Republic of Congo today. I am also Grande Mãe do Povo Bantu Brasileiro, which is great mother or queen of the African descendants of Brazil. I was crowned in Salvador de Bahia in 2019, and I have since then been carrying this title with great joy and great honor, because it's a symbol of the reunification of the African family. So it's really with these qualities that I come to you all to start the celebration of the Kwanzaa. And it's basically a moment where we really take time to really understand and to learn a little more about who we are. And although Kwanzaa is a fairly recent recent story, because it came from the New World, it just embody and show the values to which our ancestors obeyed by. So they are really bringing together all the major principles, all the 7 principles that we African people as a whole value. All these values are at the core of our cultures, are at the core of our belief system. So it's important that we bring together those values once a year, but they are actually in our lives every single day, because we are supposed to be carrying ourselves based on those principles so we can have a balanced and harmonious life. And so, but once a year, I suppose, because it's the time of this year where we're entering a new phase, that we come together as a community and we celebrate together these principles, and then we acquire knowledge on their value, and we acquire knowledge on where they came from, because it's important to know who we are. So I don't know if you've done it, if you have already done the libation, I have to ask. So have you done the libation already?
Yes, Your Majesty. Yes, we have already. But please, if the Spirit tells you to add and continue, please feel free to go with how your Spirit tells you.
Thank you so much, because I have prepared just a little bit of water and a clay pot to do a small libation to give reverence to all the ancestors. But if you have done the libation already, so I will just talk a little bit about the water and the power of water, because sometimes we do the libation and we don't always understand why we are using water. So I'm going to briefly talk about the properties of water. Our ancestors, they knew God because they studied God's creation. Like an artist. How do you know an artist? How do you know how valuable is an artist? You don't look at the artist and you just look at him and say, oh, he's a great artist. You have to look at the work that they've done. You have to look at their production. And when you look at the creation of these artists, then you can understand, the skills and talents and also intention and work that has been placed into creating that masterpiece. So God is, for our ancestors, the same way. We don't have a God of revelations that just, a single guy goes into the desert and all of a sudden, poof, some revelation comes. Our ancestors were around for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years in Africa. And also they went around the world and they collected information on God's creation because they did observe. So that's basically a scientific understanding of what the creator is. So it's not just an, inspiration or your own imagination. It was observation of nature. And by observing God's creation, our ancestors deducted the laws of nature and the laws of creation and understood the mind of the creator. And of course, understand that we are also made out of the same mind. So we are all made out of the material that creates existence. So water, they noticed, was a primordial element of creation. So water was there from the beginning. That's why our ancestor of Kemet called the noon the primordial water, which is basically the primordial energy from which everything emanates. And on Earth, on this planet, particularly on this planet, the water, H2O, is the manifestation of that primordial water by excellence. Because water, as we see it, is a living being, is a living organism. Water is not just a thing. Water is a living organism, just like everything on this planet is, because it's imbued by the spirit of the creator herself or himself. So water is a very potent element that contains all the information regarding life on this planet. That's why we are made out of, we are made out of 70% of liquid water, and then and in the liquid water is crystals. There's crystals, so that's much more complex. But water is crystals, so we are made out of liquid crystals. So all these minerals. So water is, we can symbolize, of course, the source of existence. Water is also an element that purify. So whenever some things have to be cleansed, when there have been lies, when there have been misinformation, when there have been, pain and hurt and so forth, water is a very great element, is a very great catalyst for healing. So that's why we use water to pour libation. And that's why you can also use water to do a lot of purification and cleansing ritual, which is something I advise all my people to do. We have to do ritual baths. And the difference between a regular bath and a ritual bath is the regular bath, you take it because you want to be clean and refreshed. But a ritual bath, you have to place an intention about what is it that you want to do when you get into that water. You need healing, you need for a strengthening, you need encouragement, you need to rejuvenate your spirit, you need to cleanse away all the pain, you have to cleanse away all the abuse. That's why you do ritual bath, is that's the only difference. And you have to pray over the water, you have to place your intention, and then once you do, then you go into the bath and you just bathe yourself, and then you acquire those properties of water. They can help you to heal. One of the second property is the strength of water. Many people know that we cannot break anything. Water breaks everything. If water gets tormented, water can just break everything. Everybody knows about tsunami. Everybody knows about floods. Everybody knows about if it starts to rain and it doesn't stop, forget it. If the ocean rises or the water rises, that's going to cause a lot of destruction. So that means water is extremely strong. And so we are made out of water. We are as strong as water. So we can resist. We can overcome a lot of challenges in front of us. We are not breakable. You cannot break water. So we have to understand and assimilate this principle to ourselves and realize we are not breakable. Yes, people can hurt us. We can be offended. We can be abused. We can be all, but we are not breakable. And that's why our African ancestors endured so many abuse and so many mistreatment and still were able to overcome, because they anchored themselves into the understanding of who they truly were. So water has that property. Water has also the property of flexibility. So water, when they have an obstacle in front of it, it's not going to necessarily go front and hit the obstacle. It might go and try to to go around or to keep on working at it until there is a breach. So water has this flexibility, and this is also aspire and inspire us to be flexible, to have a mind that is fast and swift, and understanding that we have to be able to adapt to different circumstances and conditions. That's also one of the major property of water that we can take for ourselves. So not to be disarmed in front of any situation. If you cannot overcome it with your strength, you have to overcome it with your mind and with your intelligence, and use your own personality to, and all the gifts that you have in your personality to basically be flexible and work your way around a problem. One of the last properties I'm going to mention right now is water is also like a memory bank. In any drop of water contains the information of the entire creation. Of course, most of us don't know that anymore. We are disconnected to the knowledge of our forefathers and ancestors. But now you can go into all the labs in MIT and all these universities where they are studying the properties of water. And now they are realizing that water is a being that contains information. So water is a data bank. Water contains every single information, every single event, every single person, every single occurrence that happened on this planet. Has every single thought has been recorded in water, which means that water is a bank of information, an amazing resource that we need to use to our advantage, to find appeasement, to find peace, to find knowledge, because we can be inspired, because a lot of time that when we are imbalanced, when we are, confused, is because we lack of knowledge. So I'm not saying that the transfer of knowledge will be like magical, but it will open up the channels of water that you have within yourself. So within yourself, you can tap into that wisdom that have been accumulated since the beginning of time to resolve problems, to come up with the proper attitude in front of a situation, and to be there to do everything that you have to do, that you are responsible of, to basically elevate yourself and to basically edify your own life, edify the life of all the loved ones around you, edify the life of your community, because there is no you without your community. And this is something that we have to really understand as African descendants and African people of the continent. We have to understand that you cannot think of yourself and be elevated if your own community is not elevated. There is no such thing as individual elevation. So that's something that I'm saying, because I want to encourage all of us to realize that your elevation is dependent on the elevation of your community. So if you are great and if you've done great things for yourself, fantastic. But remember this, it's only going to last a cycle if you do not make sure that you put resource, time, effort, love, and light into elevating the community that supports you. So this is why I talk about water a lot. This is why I am myself initiate into water. So I am queen of the waters in the Benin and Congo tradition. And I do a lot of healing work with water all over the world. And that's why I'm going to just use, since you pour libation to the ancestors already of all the people that are here, I'm just going to do a simple, pour for all the ancestors of all the people that are here today present. I pour libation for all the people and ancestors that have inspired us to be who we are today, that are not related to us by blood, but by mind and heart. I pour libation also to all those mighty ones who gave their life so that we can be here today and we can enjoy some extent, some freedom. I pour libation so that they continue to inspire us to continue to work towards being absolutely and completely free over this entire planet. I pour libation to the all the ancestors that are not human, that have been also in our encoded in our DNA. Some of this information have been encoded in our DNA. And I pour libation to the primordial ancestor, who is the noon, the creator, the force that created us, the energy that created us. So that's just to complement the libation that you must have poured before I was on this stage. So today, basically, I think I'm
Ashe,
going to just
Ashe,
continue to
Ashe.
segue on this short message. It's about learning who you are. It's about community. There is no making it alone. There is only making it when we understand that we are a unit, that we are a body, and we need to recompose ourselves like Osiris was recomposed. We have to go all over the world and pick up the pieces of who we are. We have to go and acknowledge the accomplishments of all the African people all over the world and how they recreated Africa everywhere they went with the tools that they came from the continent. Because you have to remember, you have to think about this. Imagine a people that are ripped from their family, that are ripped from their land, that are ripped from their culture, from all they know, that are placed under the worst living condition ever imagined on this planet. For not only for a week or two, they go through 90 days or 100 days of crossing oceans in the worst condition with humiliation and abuse. And they get where they have to be, and they are sold as animals, not even animals, actually like furniture, because they didn't even have the status of cattle. They had the statue of a chair, of a thing, be sold and then be exploited and abused for centuries and centuries and centuries. And still, these people manage to keep their physical integrity, their moral integrity, their spiritual integrity. So what does that tell you about these people? And they continue to create civilization wherever they were. They were mathematicians, they were engineers, they were nurses, they were doctors, they were teachers, they were priests, they were architects, and wherever they went, they use all the knowledge and they continue to carry forth civilizations, because that's who built this civilization. Those are the people. So we are by excellence the civilization builders, and wherever we are, regardless of the condition in which we are placed, we continue to build civilization. And remember, civilization is about civil, being peaceful. So despite everything, we never turned into bestiality. We never turned into violence that was not a violence that was not about protecting our own life. But instead, we continue to create and we continue to invent. We invented new music. We invented new dances. We invented all kinds of technology that we don't even get the credit for. So we are those people. And on the other side of the continent, in Africa itself, think about a people whose family is being snatched away. Foreigners coming in and doing rampage every other week, killing people, because for every one person that was deported from Africa, 10 people died on the continent defending that life. Despite all the lies that they've been telling everyone about, we sold each other. This is all lies. Now we are debunking all these lies because we have our own historians. We have our own people telling the truth now. So these people, your family's being taken away, you're being killed, you're being chased everywhere you go, you're being threatened of being kidnapped any other day. And then it's not enough. Your cities are destroyed, your education system is destroyed, your economy is destroyed. You cannot even provide for yourself anymore, because now you are forced to only work for the oppressors and for the people who are coming to colonize. Then they put you in a gigantic forced labor camp, that the continent becomes a forced labor camp where they kill you, they exterminate some of you. Like the Harare in South Africa, where they killed the entire population. Like the 12 millions of Congolese people that they killed. And we are still here. We have kept our physical integrity. We have kept our mental integrity. We have kept our spiritual integrity. Yes, we did some flips, and we had to adapt, and we adopted some beliefs and so forth to survive, and sometimes by force. But today is the day we say no more. And Kwanzaa, for me, that's the value of Kwanzaa. The value of Kwanzaa is to say enough, no more lies. We do not want to calculate ourselves based on the format that somebody else have designed to put us into. We decide to stand on our own 2 feet and claim our identity proper as a great treasure. The African identity is the greatest treasure of this humanity, because within that identity, we have the body of knowledge and wisdom that our forefathers and foremothers have accumulated for thousands and thousands of years. We have the seed of all civilization, with emphasis on civil, and we have the seed for creativity. So African people, be ready, get yourself ready, because your time is coming again where you have to be called to come back and settle the scores, and also create a new civilization, because we know what time it is. We know that the model that they have proposed us for 2,500 years is now collapsing, because it's a model that is against the laws of creation, against the laws of nature. It's a model that do not foster life, that do not preserve life, and do not elevate and edify life. And because it's a model that goes against all nature, the rules of nature, it's a model that doesn't have ability to sustain itself. And so as the model is collapsing in front of us, we are going to be called to task to bring back the light where darkness had prevailed for way too long. So I call all my African brothers and sisters to wake up, to own their own identity by learning who they are. Be proud of who you are, but you have to learn. You have to be willing to break all the molds so that you can go and really recapture the essence of your humanhood. So you can be the one that you were created to be, the builder of civilization, the one who brings peace and prosperity in the world. So I am very, very honored that you have given me some time to be with you, my family, to celebrate this amazing holiday with you and the start of Kwanzaa. So I wish you to take this time to be elevated, to restore yourself, and to do what we do, to be masters of creation. So I send you love, I send you light, and may peace be with you. Thank you.
Asante Sana, Asante Sana, Your Royal Highness. Thank you so much for such a beautiful, elevating talk. Thank you so much. Yes. Kwanzaa Yuno Irinaheri, family. Kwanzaa Yuno Irinaheri. It's beautiful. Thank you for gracing us. Thank you for the work that you continue to do around the world with our African people and for humanity in its essence, and trying to get us to be where we're supposed to be, as is the fathers, grandfathers, grandmothers of the world, and to bring the world back into balance, because that is our role. And thank you for leading in that, continuing this edition. Thank you so much, Mama. Thank you so much. Asante Sana. Okay. Yes, and please send our love and our respect to all those in the Congo and everybody working in your organization. Asante Sana.